Hello, friends. It's Katie back with another episode of my vlog. And I was thinking recently, I could really use a vacation. I don't know about you guys, but I've been stuck in the stroke dimension for 2.5 years. Been stuck in the COVID dimension for a year almost now. And even prior to the stroke situation, we were hustling and working so hard to make this company into what it is today that we didn't have time or budget resources for a vacation. So as a result, it's been, I think, about 5 years since we've gone somewhere on like a proper family vacation. We did do some travel in 2018, but it was all to go see family. And it was kind of, there was a funeral and like family obligations and visits, which isn't really like a fun, let's go kick back and have a vacation type of trip, right? In addition, I haven't had a real day off in the last 2.5 years of the stroke dimension. No, that's not true. I've had 2 days off in the last 2.5 years, and they were the days I had a root canal and the day I had to drive a gazillion miles to go to the DMV to get my license renewed. So I haven't had a meaningful day off in quite a while. And like I said, we have not had the ability to have a family vacation in years. And I have just been, thinking and working on this problem and going, how can we take a vacation? Is there a way for us to take a vacation in this limited circumstance of the global pandemic and travel restrictions and all of the restrictions of the stroke dimension and all of this other stuff? How do we take a vacation? And I came up with this idea that I like a lot, and I'm kind of working on the family about it to see if we're going to implement it. But I thought I would share this idea with you guys because even if I don't wind up doing it, maybe I'll spark some interest in my audience, and one of you guys will take me up on this concept I came up with, which is called a virtual vacation. Now, this is different from a staycation. A staycation, of course, is when you take some time off work and stay at your own house and either, tackle those home improvement and repair projects that you've been meaning to get to forever, or you play tourist in your own town. And I think there's value to both of those things. Good luck playing tourist right now. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a staycation. Instead, what I'm talking about is a virtual vacation. And my concept for a virtual vacation is kind of like if you could go anywhere in the world. Let's say money is no object, there's no pandemic happening, there's no stroke dimension or whatever, might be a restriction for you that keeps you from traveling. Where would you go? And once you decide on where you would go, then you can make yourself a virtual trip to that place. Now, what you're going to decide to do on your virtual trip is, of course, going to depend on where you're going, but it's also going to depend on what you like to do on your vacations, right? So for me, when I go on vacation, one of my key things that I like to do is walk around in a new place, see the sights, whether they're natural beauty or contemporary city or the ancient history of whatever the place is that I'm visiting. I like to go to museums and, see the art from the place that I'm going to, things like that. So, okay, well, how do you do that from your own house? Well, obviously, there's a whole wide internet out there full of travel videos and museum tour videos and even just walk-arounds. You can just walk around London or walk around Rome or walk around Tokyo. There's YouTube videos people have put up. They just strap a GoPro on and walk around in their own town, and then you can watch it from your house. One of the other things I like to do is eat the food of a different place, right? So, okay, I'm going to travel to another country. I need to look up some recipes and challenge myself to cook some of the food that I would have if I was staying in, say, Japan or Mexico or Germany or wherever my virtual vacation happens to be, right? Another thing I like to do is watch local TV in a different place. Even if I can't understand the language, it's totally fascinating to me to watch TV or listen to the radio in a different place, especially where they speak a different language, and just get a totally different take on life, or kind of, like see things through a different lens, the way it's presented on TV in a different country, or, watch the movies of a different country, which I do all the time. And these are all things that we can do from home without actually going to another place. So I said, oh, or maybe you're the type of person who likes to go shopping when you go on vacation. I'm not. I'm not a real shopper at all. I do like to get a little souvenir or something. But say that's one of your driving things about going on vacation to another place is you really want to go shopping in that other place. Well, you can go shopping online in that other place, right? Or maybe your thing is you really want to meet the locals in another place. Well, that's a little bit harder from your own home, but it's more possible now than it's ever been in human history. And we should be taking advantage of that. I can go on the subreddit for Mexico City or Tokyo. I mean, obviously they're going to be speaking a different language, but you could post, let's take the language barrier out, right? You could go visit the London subreddit and make a post and say, hey, I really want to visit London. I've never been. I'm doing a virtual vacation during lockdown, and I'm looking to meet Londoners who I might run into if I was actually in London. Would anybody down? You want to have a conversation with me? Tell me what your life is about. Let's just say I bumped into you on the street in London. What would that look like, right? You might make a whole bunch of new friends who live in a whole other country, right? So there's a lot of ways, thanks to the internet, that we can engage with other cultures, with people from other countries, with, historical sites or artifacts, or, again, food is a really good one. I can cook for myself, or rather have Henry cook for me in the style of another culture's cuisine. But also, of course, I live in a city, Portland, that has lots of different types of restaurants. So if I was to say, okay, I'm going on virtual vacation to Japan, we could make some Japanese home cooking here, but we could also say, okay, we're going to go get dinner from, this teriyaki spot tonight, or that ramen spot tomorrow, or this sushi place the next day, right? There's a lot of possibilities if you use your imagination here. So my full concept is to make this a real true virtual vacation. What you have to do is you have to block yourself some time. And now here's a cool thing about the virtual vacation. There's no travel time and there's no jet lag. So you could go to Tokyo for a day, right? Like, you can't go to Tokyo for a day in reality. That's just not going to work. But you could completely go to Tokyo for just one day on a virtual vacation. I think it would be cooler if you do it for more days. I think 2 or 3 days, it would be a really cool way to do this. So say, okay, I'm going to go on virtual vacation for 3 days. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to work. I'm not doing the normal things at my house. I'm not going to clean up my house. I'm not going to, pay my bills, or all the things that you leave behind when you go on vacation. Don't do any of that while you're on your virtual vacation. And instead, really say to yourself, okay, I just flew to Japan. I woke up in Japan this morning. What's the first thing I'm going to do? Well, I'm a runner. I would bring my running shoes with me if I went to Japan. So I'd want to run around in Japan. Well, okay. So I can get one of those walk around Japan videos and I can play it on my tablet and run on my treadmill. And I can speed the video up so it's a little faster and it feels like a run, right? That's a way that I can do that. It's obviously pales in comparison to being able to go to Japan and actually do my morning run in Japan. But that's obviously not an option right now. So, okay, I can't do the real deal. Let's do the virtual second best, right? Like I said, I would go to a museum. So I'm going to go on a museum tour video hunt online and find those. I would go shopping at a magazine store, a newsstand, right? I love to look at the newspapers and magazines and books that are printed in other countries. So That one's a little bit trickier, but I could find stuff online. I also have several local resources in the form of Japanese shops where I could go shopping safely. They have, COVID precautions in place, and I could go in, browse a magazine rack, buy a couple of titles, take them home, and then, okay, now I'm at my hotel room in Japan and I have my magazines and I can read them. Again, I can watch some Japanese TV. I can watch Japanese movies. I can listen to Japanese music, right? There's lots and lots of options. And again, especially if you use your imagination about this, right? We're not confined to actual reality. So we can go a little bit crazier with our virtual vacation and really, have some fun with the concept. So I polled everyone in the family. I didn't tell them about the virtual vacation concept before I polled them, but I said, okay, if you could go anywhere in the world, budget was no object, and, there's no pandemic going on, where would you go? And I got wildly different answers from everyone. Of course, I said Japan, like I already told you guys, but I mean, we got Germany and Switzerland, Canada. Man, Henry said he wants to go to a tropical rainforest. So I immediately challenged him and said, well, where? Right? You want to go to South America, or are we going to like the Congo or Indonesia or Sumatra or something like that? And let's say your thing is you want to see wildlife. Maybe that's why he wants to go to a tropical rainforest. Well, okay. Again, I can't actually take him to a tropical rainforest right now, but boy, there's a lot of videos about the animals that live in that part of the world, or conservation efforts that are going on, or you name it. There is a ton of media on any place that you pick. I mean, you pick some totally remote, tiny island somewhere, there's not going to be that much media about it. But if you pick any, country that people are regularly flying to for actual vacation, there's going to be a ton of available media that you can look at online, get some books, get some magazines, whatever, make it yours. And of course, because this is a virtual vacation and not a real vacation, you can also take advantage of that and really use your imagination to travel somewhere that there's no way you could go to in real reality, like the moon or Mars or some farther away outer space adventure, or, a fantasy realm like Middle Earth or the Land of Oz, or any setting for a piece of fiction media that you love. You could say to yourself, I'm going to travel to that place. I'm going to try to make that food that they have there. I'm going to try to think about what that landscape might look like, right? I mean, like, you could get even weirder with it. You could vacation into a song or something. The sky is the limit, really. I mean, your imagination is the limit with this one, right? But I think in order to make it work, really pick a time frame and make a budget for yourself. Go ahead, say, I'm going to spend some money on this project. I'm going to buy some books. I'm going to buy some magazines. I'm going to treat myself to some meals from restaurants to really get this experience going. I guarantee you it's going to be cheaper than actually going on vacation to a place. It's going to cost less than the airfare. There's a whole world out there that we can explore, even though we're stuck in our houses, right? So I think it's a cool concept. Again, it feels a little bit cheesy, but I think with the right energy behind it, with the right tools, resources, the right amount of imagination behind it, it could be a really, really fun thing to do. So I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm actually going to drag the whole family along with me and do a couple days in Japan. I guess, to be fair, if we were running this household as a democracy, we'd have to do Germany and Switzerland because both Sean and Jimmy voted for that trip. But I think this might be a benevolent dictatorship with me as your dictator. So we might just be doing Japan over here. But you know what? The cool thing about a virtual vacation is we can do both, or all of them, and even more than that. Again, the sky's the limit. Your imagination is the limit here. It's not going to be that expensive. It just takes a little doing. So what do you guys think? Is anyone excited about this besides me? If you were going to do this virtual vacation project, where would you go? I'm always curious. What are the spots that are on your top travel lists? And what would you do when you went there? And how can you figure out how to do that? Well, staying home and staying safe during COVID. I'm super curious about it. So leave me a comment down below if you have some feedback for me on this topic. I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to be back in a few more days with the Cinema Club Sunday Roundup, unless I go to Japan on virtual vacation, in which case my upload might be a couple days late. But we'll see what happens, huh? I guess you guys will have to stay tuned to find out. All right. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and be safe and take care out there. And let me know where you're going on your virtual vacation.